All right, it's a lovely Friday, and I'm here with Amit Meredith. She is the head of marketing of GoFundMe and Classy, a GoFundMe company. I hope I got that right. And I'm super excited to talk to you about social media today and also get into some sort of just like relevant topics around using social media for good and for driving change when we are in moments of, natural disaster and really trying to get people to come together as a community. So, hey, Amit, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Taylor. I'm really excited to talk about all the incredible work that's been happening, and especially in light of, what is going on in Los Angeles right now.
Yeah, so let's just dig right into it. So you're the head of marketing, which means you do all sorts of things. And
Never
one
a
of
dull
those,
day. Never a dull day.
yeah. And we had like kind of said we wanted to talk and go deep on social media today and storytelling on social media. But like first let's take a step back, give me sort of like where things are because we are in a big moment in time right now. And GoFundMe is a platform that so many people use. I was affected by Hurricane Helene. So I live in Western North Carolina, right where the hurricane impacted us, and a lot of the ways that we started finding out who in our area needed help and supported other people in our community was on GoFundMe pages and through GoFundMe fundraisers. So let's talk a little bit about how you guys think about how to sort of like drive change and impact in natural disasters or moments of need.
Oh, that's such a great question, and I hope that everything is starting to recover really well where you are. I know it's a long road. Having grown up
Yeah.
in Florida, I'm very familiar with hurricane and aftermath and rebuilding. And I think what was actually interesting about Helene and tying quickly to social media there is our head of social and community, Brian Reese, actually did a Reddit AMA with the mods there to be able to answer some questions that people had
Mm,
about GoFundMe in a crisis situation and how to utilize the platform and how to bring attention to what it is that they needed or to
mm,
be able to find fundraisers that they could support. And so one of the things that we do at GoFundMe around any crisis like this is we actually stand up a hub, and that allows
mm,
our trust and safety team and our comms team and our marketing teams to have a centralized place for fundraisers that are verified, meaning they've gone through our complete
mm.
trust and safety process. We know who the beneficiary is, everything is connected, everything is legit. And so that gives that extra bit of faith that any bad players are caught. If they are on the hub, we really make sure that we go through that process for the ones that we find and put there. And so that
Mhm.
kind of is the beginning of the resource. And what we've seen in Los Angeles is that that has also become a resource for people who are building out spreadsheets and kind of having that collaborative community feeling where like here's the qualifications for this spreadsheet, anybody can add to it, and then they will go through and find their fundraisers, see if they're on the hub, make note of what is happening there. And so we've really been paying attention to the ways in which people are gathering that and feeling like in community around the specific purpose or the audience that they want to support. And so that's been really beautiful to see actually, with the recent wildfires, is how much the different social audiences are showing up
Mhm.
and engaging with the fundraisers that are both for individuals and on behalf of nonprofits through the GoFundMe hub.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's, I mean, within a day or so, I mean, it's incredible how quickly people can get up and running with things like GoFundMe. I just think it's really changing the nature of how people come together and like time in those moments of disaster and times of need. And within a day, I mean, I had my cousin, one of her friends had lost their family had lost their home pretty quickly in the wildfires. And so they start passing around a GoFundMe link and we're able to help support and give to that family. And it's just really and it's all through social media. all of it's being sort of like passed around through social media, through DMs, through stories on Instagram. And it's, I just think, really, really powerful. So I want to talk a little bit about your thoughts and what you see taking off and what you see working really well when it comes to using social media to engage a community in like a time of crisis.
It's such a great question and so timely. Truly, like I'm actually really thankful that we're talking about this because we
Yeah,
have all
me
been
too.
so immersed in it, since pretty much, midday Tuesday of last week. And I think similarly, I had one of my like best childhood friends who lived in the area, and I checked in with her on Tuesday. I was like, "Hey, are you okay? Like everything good?" She's like, "We're getting ready to evacuate."
Mhm,
And they did, and then unfortunately, their home was also completely
mhm.
destroyed by the fire, though their smoker survived, which is, like, kind of ironic in the whole thing.
Very weird, very ironic.
Weird cat, wooden box thing, I don't know, that was in their
Yeah,
backyard, and she's like, How did this thing make it?"
huh,
And so kind of finding some humor in the chapter that they're in right now and really facing it together. But what was
yeah,
remarkable about her story and many of the stories that I've seen being shared on social media is that in addition to the actual value of the fund and the money that they were able to
mhm,
receive through GoFundMe, what also really impacted them was seeing how many people, some people they don't even know, some people they haven't seen
mhm,
since high school, and or even like knew that they were paying attention to, really kind of showed up in whatever the donation amount was, not even the most significant part. It was just feeling supported and feeling
mhm,
really much in very much in community there. And so how that has shown up in the social spaces, it's taken on so many different shapes and forms. Like there have been, we've seen what we will coin like impact creators, which is someone who
mm,
has a following, who is doing good with that following, and who is trying to make an impact on other people's lives. And in this case, we've seen so many people almost like take that on and say like, hey, I found this fundraiser. It only has this much, let's rally around it. And they will just
yeah,
share that fundraiser until that fundraiser hits their goal. And and that's strangers. It's not someone they know. It's someone that they're
yeah.
advocating for. And I don't know if you've seen that, but that's one of the things
Oh, yeah.
I found just really, really beautiful.
I saw someone who I have known in the marketing world for a while post something recently on LinkedIn about a good friend of his who was just having a hard time due to like a layoff, and then the job market is rough,
Mhm.
and their family was in need. I have no idea who this woman is or her family, but I know the guy who posted it and thought, I'm gonna go give them a little bit of money. And so I think it is really interesting when you see how it's sort of like changing the face of impact. What I like about it is you feel like you can give directly to the person that you're like, oh, like this is the story I can directly read about, relate with maybe in some way, and give to them. And for us in Helene, it was helpful because we started doing, figuring out as a company like what could we do. I'm right here in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Some of our team members are from this area too, but don't live here. And what can we do about it? And we started a t-shirt business very quickly that we spun up and like started selling Get Mountain Strong t-shirts. And
But
then we thought, well, where are we putting the money? And I started going around and finding like campaigns with individual families and small businesses in the area that had GoFundMe campaigns to donate our efforts to, and our fundraising to, from our t-shirt sales. And so it made it easier to do than going and like having randos hit me up on Facebook, which sometimes you feel like, I don't know if this is legit or a scam. And
yeah.
so, having a lot of GoFundMe options, fundraiser options, was really helpful during that time.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And you know what I think is so special about that is like there's very few brands that people turn to in times of vulnerability and
Mhm.
crisis. And we take such responsibility and care that people look to us in these times. And really, hearing that we showed up in the right way is just, phenomenal. So thank you so much for sharing that. That
Yeah.
is really, really touching.
Yeah, yeah, it's not I like what you guys are doing. Okay, so let's get back a little bit around okay, I've got all these bullet points, all these notes that we wanted to talk about things like Gen Z on social media. We planned
Yeah.
this episode a while ago before everything, in the world started happening as it is right now. So I do like that we're able to talk about the relevant thing going on.
Yes.
Um,
Great.
so you mentioned impact creators, and I want to talk a little bit about an audience that is on so many brands and people's minds and how to better engage, particularly as we think about like giving and impact and how companies like GoFundMe come into the mix. But what are some trends that you are seeing that you think like marketing leaders should be tuning into when it comes to engaging these age ranges on social media?
Oh, I love this question so much because we actually explored it from more of a research and academic perspective earlier this year. And now seeing how it plays out, and what we thought would happen if you kind of look at, the way the culture moves, we're like, oh,
Mhm,
well, this might be, the thing that we start to see. And it's absolutely come to life. And what that is really like Gen Z they are sharing almost on a weekly basis something
mhm,
that makes a difference in the world. So some kind of like
mhm,
cause or nonprofit or person, something that is like making change that they want to see. And millennials, not far behind, are sharing about once a month or so on different social platforms. And then
mhm,
as you get older in generations, obviously that social first sharing behavior is a little bit different, but there's still a lot of ways that brands as a marketer, with that lens, can engage this audience about their cause and really empower them to, take it on in their own voice and in their own
mhm,
way. And, one of the things that we do at GoFundMe to help support that is actually like adopted AI tools and innovation to be
mhm,
able to like help you find the words when you don't have them.
mhm,
We're creating, posters and even, AI generated video. We're kind of starting to play with to see if there's ways that we can help people on our platforms tell their story on the social platforms and integrate into those
mm,
spaces where storytelling, which you mentioned earlier, is really at the key, at the center
yeah,
of what is compelling for people is like the human story behind the thing that's happening. And so
mm,
that's been a really remarkable thing that we as marketers are looking at and engaging with. And in fact, when again, kind of tying it back to the current, fire situation is like the creators that we're working with. Mo O'Connor on our team has done so many collabs and has been willing to, really engage with anyone who wants to be able to make a difference and use their voice
mhm,
in the social
mm,
spaces. And we have helped, Kate Richmond also on the team, do these collabs, but also help them understand how our tools can
yeah,
also share numerous fundraisers. So we have a new, this launched in December of 24, so
mm,
a month ago, maybe a little bit more. And it's called GoFundMe Profiles. And you
mm,
can find any fundraiser that you want to support, whether financially or just sharing it, which actually matters a lot. And
mm,
you can add it into your GoFundMe profile. And then you have a single link that you can share into your socials that then brings anyone to the fundraisers that you care about. And so there's a
mm,
way to amplify numerous funds versus doing like 5 or 6 different posts and,
yeah,
following up that way. And so I think that impact creators are emerging. I think it's something we're
mhm,
going to see more and more of. It's something that GoFundMe really wants to help lead the way with. So if you
mm,
are one, you're listening to this podcast, get in touch. We're definitely here to build out the tools that support the creator economy in this way. And then I think
yeah,
the other things around, just really understanding how the platforms are sharing content and enabling that for
yeah,
people.
yeah. I impact creator, a new level of influencer, it sounds like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. And
yeah,
it's not even about like the size of your following or that like everything you do has to be in service of this. I mean, one of my other favorite examples is Sharon McMahon. If you follow her, Sharon says so.
Mhm.
Governors Unite, and she's just like a phenomenal sort of history teacher, and
Mm.
her community does rally often around different causes, or rallying around medical debt, and she'll partner with different teams to focus on an issue that's important and
Mhm.
make a difference to that issue in that moment. And that, to me, is just like a great example of how we think about impact creators, that they
Yeah.
can make a difference without it being the only part of their editorial view.
Yeah, I think the creator economy is really interesting for brands to tap into more who maybe aren't yet. We
Mhm.
worked with a client last year that did one very, very small influencer campaign and initiative, and it was like some of their best, I mean, some of their biggest reach of the year, and I'm like, "Let's do more of this," like,
That's
this
great.
is how you get in front of new people. Sometimes it's like, like borrowing other people's audience by working with creators and influencers. And if you're thinking in particular about identifying people who are impact creators in particular, I think that's a really interesting strategy to be thinking about, as people tend to live more and more of their lives on social media platforms.
It's so true. I mean, I think it'll be very interesting to see what happens this weekend and where, the platforms step up for
Yeah.
some creators that, may be impacted by what's going on there. But I do think you're right that, like, as a brand and for us, it's not always important to be so brand forward. We do want to lend our equity
Mhm.
to the creators that we're working with and believe in that. But it's really their story and their view and the thing that they
Mhm.
care about, and then that helps the people on our platform be successful, and that's ultimately what we care
Yeah.
about as well.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so I know we're short on time here today. I want to ask you like kind of one closeout question, and then we're going to share some links. This is a relevant episode when it comes to like current things going on in the world right now with the fires in LA. We're going to push this one out sooner than normal because of that. And so I'm going to ask you to send some links that would be helpful for us to share with our audience around how to look for fundraisers and relief efforts that GoFundMe is powering right now. But close us out, Amit, with like your number one storytelling suggestion for 2025.
Oh, I think
Social media storytelling. I know
social
I took
media
you on the spot with
storytelling.
like a big question.
Yeah, well, I'm going two ways. Uh, I think the most important thing is what is tried and true is good storytelling centers on authenticity. It centers on,
Mm,
really being able to share what's happened, what it means to you, why it's important, why right now. Like, give people an understanding of what you're going through, because I promise you, somebody who sees that is going to be moved and they're going to be impacted and they're going to be changed. And so really, understanding that that is the most powerful part of what you want to bring to the
mm,
social spaces. And then the second part of that I'm going to sneak in is, if you don't have the words and you don't have the tools to really get that out, there's so much in the space right now that can help you find that, and that can
mm,
help you learn to be great at getting that story out. And those are things like, the AI writing tools and also the videos that we talked about, but also, just get in there and kind of play with whatever you need to help you in crafting that story, because it is so, so important. And then, I think from there, it'll draw in the community, right? And you participate
yeah.
in that, and then get to reap the benefits as well.
Yeah. I know it's kind of crazy. Like anyone can be a good writer now. Like if you've got the idea and then you just like learn how to use AI to write well, like anyone can be a great writer now.
Absolutely. I think there's so much education available at your fingertips, and then there's,
Mhm.
like, the trial by just playing with it and say, like, giving
Yeah.
different prompts, and there you can find, videos on how to use it even, and so I think there's a lot there that, helps in some of the barriers that we see of being able to ask for help and being brave and vulnerable and I think that we just are so impressed and encourage more and more people to be able to tell those stories in times of crisis like this, but then also
Yeah.
for a variety of other things that you can do on the platform as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Amit, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today. And learn a little bit more about what you guys are doing at GoFundMe, but really to like talk to someone who's leading the marketing there because I see GoFundMe campaigns all over the place and I give to GoFundMe campaigns and it's just great to connect and to chat with you and to talk a little bit about, storytelling on social in crisis and impact creators. Now I'm going to go a little deep sometime soon in the near future on impact creators because I really like that concept.
Oh, it's wonderful, and I, like, truly could talk to you all day because there's so
Yeah, we
much.
could go long. We could go long if we have
Yeah,
some
right.
meetings today. Trust me, I want to talk more. So maybe we'll do a round two or
Oh,
something
that
like
would be
that.
so fun, I would love that. Thank you
Yeah.
so much,
Okay.
Taylor. This has just
Well,
been a
hey,
lot of fun, and I
and
appreciate you.
yeah, and we'll drop some links to get in touch with you to find GoFundMe and Classy. But if there's the best way to just connect with you online, what's that?
I am on LinkedIn. LinkedIn/in Amit-Meredith. Hit me up there. And, looking forward to connecting with folks. And, just hearing more about your stories and how we can help.
Cool. Awesome. I hope this was a good episode and you learned a little bit of something new about either GoFundMe if you weren't familiar with them and, rallying the troops in a time of crisis and how social media and storytelling comes into the mix. So we'll see you next time, folks.
Thanks so much.